Hey, what's up, comrades? We did it. We're finally through with all the Salburg games. So I didn't play all the Salburg games. There's like, gosh, goddamn. There's like 1, 2, 3. There's at least 3 games I didn't play. But we played 4 of them. Yep, all 4. So there's at least 7. God damn, that's a lot. Okay. And we haven't even begun. There's like 26 games in this series. So, not counting the 3 I didn't play, or this one, which is, this is Atelier, Anise, Marie, and Elie. All right, so Anise, okay, so this game was not translated. It's also a Game Boy Advance game, so the OCR that I was using, that I've used in the past, like when I used it with Lily, which worked decently well with Lily, I was able to understand a lot what was going on. Eventually, I just turned the OCR off, because this game plays exactly like the rest of the games, so it wasn't hard to, like, figure out. Like, I knew how to, like, get the fairies, do the fairy thing, do the different kinds of alchemy and stuff. I knew how to go to combat. I kind of, like, I would just, like, go places, because I knew how to, like, navigate the menu well enough. Like, I know Japanese, like, very minimally, but I know enough that combined with that and just my knowledge of how to play these games, I was able to muddle my way through the 5 years of this game and get, like, it seemed like the normal ending, because we see Elie and Marie just, like, having a good time, and then, like, Anise hanging out. The big thing that changes about this game, okay, so it's like after the fact of the Elie game, Elie and Marie have come together and they've joined forces to create, like, to work together in their own atelier, right? And then Ingrid comes along and is like, hey, we want to spread the good word of, like, of alchemy out throughout the world. So I need you guys to, like, write books about alchemy. And then you get to choose certain books. And then throughout the game, you go to Ingrid and later Helena when she shows up, and they tell you, like, I need this kind of book written by this time period. And the writing the books is, like, super easy. It's pretty much just, like, discover recipes. And when you discover, and then you go to the library once you have a mission, like a quest to make a book, and you just got to, like, fill the recipe book up with recipes, with alchemy recipes related to whatever the theme is, right? So I started off with, like, food, I'm pretty sure, like tabimas. And so, or that's to eat. It was like, God, I can't remember. Anyway, it was like stuff you prepare for meals or something. I don't, it's, again, like, my Japanese is super rough. Like, it's been like 20 years since I studied it. So it's a lot of, it's just like, I recognize that character. I know it means something to do with food. So I'm just going to make food stuff and pray to God that allows me to do this. And then also when you get the big advantage is the kanji characters. So when you go to, like, make a book, once you have a quest, you can see it, like writes out what you've already discovered and what you haven't discovered. So then you can go back to the atelier and you can try to match and be like, okay, so that is a recipe that's in this book, so I'm going to work on doing that. How do I do that? Okay, I got to make this thing, which is these characters. So then I go back to my list and be like, do I have that? Yes, I do. Okay. And then as you unlock things, you get pictures, and the pictures really fucking help. That was, like, a godsend, because I didn't have to spend so much time trying to, like, navigate back and forth. And like I said, once I got kind of, like, on a groove, I was just, like, grooving along. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of burnt out. So hopefully the Gaumont trilogy or duology or whatever's next, it's not more of this, because it's like, bro, after 4 games of, like, because at some point it's like, okay, at first it's kind of a struggle, and then I get my thing, I get my elves, and then I'm just, like, doing the same thing, and it's like repeat, rinse and repeat, and it kind of gets, like, old, and so it's gonna be rough playing if it's just, like, more of this shit without, like, too much variation on it, or at least some sort of story to hold it together. And this had a story, right? But I just told you the story. That was it. At some point in year 1, after year 1, like in year 2, a niece comes. She's from, okay, feel free to correct me if you know Japanese better or played this game, but my understanding from what I was able to decipher, even, like, with just looking at Japanese characters and trying to recognize shit, and, like, again, like, my vague understanding, because the OCR was just, like, it was not translating well, and I think it's because it was a Game Boy Advance, right? So it's just not picking up on the pixels because they're not connected all the time and whatnot. Was Anise is coming from somewhere in the south, which we went south at some point and hung out in a place. And then she's coming up here to study alchemy because she's heard about everything. And then the fun thing about this game is you can switch. So you have Elie and Marie, and then you can switch between the two of them. So you can have, like, Elie doing alchemy shit, and then you can send Marie off to, like, get goods, right? To harvest things, or to work on the library book, or to do whatever else you want, go fight in the arena or whatever. And then Anise comes up and I'm like, oh cool, I'm gonna have 3, but that is not true. You get 2. So you have to take Elie or Marie back to the academy, have them, like, hang out over there to get Anise. And I didn't really quite understand, like, the relevance there, and it just seemed to me like Marie was just the best character out of all of them. And that's just, like, I don't know. She just seemed to, like, have more success. It could have just been, like, random chance, because there were times it was like you have like a 14% chance to make this, and I'd make it with Marie, and then it's like you have an 85% chance to make this with Elie or Anise, and they'd fail constantly, and I would be like, I don't understand, game, like, the fuck. And it, you know, it's one of those things where it's like A lot of people are more familiar with like XCOM and the XCOM thing, where it's like you have 99% chance to hit this guy, miss, and it's like, and it's not even like once. Like if it happens more than once in 100, it's like that's not a 99% chance to hit. That's not. So if it says 99% chance to hit and I miss like 10% of the time, it's a 90% chance to hit. Let's not fuck around, game. Anyway. So that's how I felt a lot of times. Like there were things where it's like I literally had a thing at one point where it's like you have a 95% chance to make this thing, and I was like, cool, and then it was like failure, and I was like, okay, right. But I wasn't hard up trying to like do anything or get a certain ending because I could barely like understand what was happening half the time. There's also 3 places you can go to that I was able to find, and each one of those 3 places. Okay, my wife called and it paused, so I don't know where I stopped, but fuck. Okay. That's going to be an awkward transition. Anyway, there's really not much to talk about this game. If you listen to any of my other reviews of these Atelier Salburg games, they're all exactly the same. This one, like I said, it adds a niece, and a niece has like a cute relationship with some handsome boy who comes and like wants to hang out with her all the time and stuff. And there's like a cute little story about that, and like her being embarrassed and him being like very interested and whatnot. And then there's like all the characters from like the previous games. Like Shea shows up like for 5 seconds at one point. I know in Elie, there's like a whole wedding side quest thing that I missed with her. Well, Marie will come hang out with Elie as well, but what can you do? That's kind of the fun thing about these games is there's like all sorts of the story of the game is really like the interactions with the other characters and kind of that, but it's all very like minimalistic and whatnot. Oh, and then the prince who we've run into with Elie and Marie is now the king, right? So that's fun to go see that. And then let me think if there's anything else really to talk about here. Not really. I would say like if this was like back in the day and I had a Game Boy Advance and I just wanted like a fun chill game to play and I understood Japanese perfectly well, this was an excellent game because I feel like it was lacking nothing and it had like a little bit more on top. Like making the books was like a fun addition to what was going on. It didn't have as much of the experimentation. Like you could there was like a section where you could make things that you didn't have recipes for by combining things, but that same thing existed in Lily and Elie, but you had to like kind of like make up shit, and it didn't have the thing. This also didn't have the mixing thing where you could like put more of something in there to get like a higher quality. At least I didn't see it, right? So maybe it was a Japanese thing I just never clicked on, and so I couldn't figure it out. But I didn't really experiment that much because again, it's like I started playing this game and I got to like year 2 and I got a niece and then I got to year 3 and I was like, holy shit, I got like 3 more years of this fucking game to get through, and it was like it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm not getting anything else because I don't understand Japanese like even close to being able to like enjoy like the stories besides like vaguely understanding what people are talking about after like thinking about it real hard and trying to like connect words and stuff. Whew. Anyway, so yeah, but it was fun. And so that wraps up our Salburg section of the Atelier, and we'll get to the first game in the Galmond. I think there's 2 of them, which I think are also Japanese, so that might be a little rough as well. So we might have little short reviews of those as well, but that'll be in a couple weeks. So go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.